The seventh gene key is called virtue. It's the name of the city. The city in the gene keys system, map if you like, corresponds to the deepest, innermost, truest, purest origin point, source point that has the frequency of the divine, unadulterated, pure, beyond words, really. And at the lower frequencies, this vibrational quality of virtue is called guidance. Guidance in the sense of having the compass that points to the true north, the metaphor of the true north. And then at the shadow level, the lowest frequency level, which basically is the level of the ego. There's nothing wrong with the ego. In fact, the ego can be transcended, can be purified and transcended, and it's kind of like the container, the bag, like the human suit that we wear. That is our character, our personality, our identity in this life. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem comes when we identify with it and reduce ourselves to this small, container of the body, of the psychic correspondence of the body, believing ourselves to be that, when in fact that is an artifact of what we truly are. So when I say, excuse me, that the shadow frequency and the ego, it's a way of pointing to something so that we get a better grasp on it, and that we can actually, come down from the mental realm and be more in a place of understanding, of feeling how these different elements are actually within our consciousness. And from within our consciousness, then we can relax. This is always the invitation. This is always the teaching. This is always the light, at the end of the tunnel. Well, the light is everywhere. It's all around the tunnel. It's before the tunnel as well. And we wouldn't know that we were in a tunnel if there weren't light within our being that we then recognize as being at the end of the tunnel, So virtue, and I don't know, when you're beaming in to see this, it's being recorded on the Lion's Gate, the August 8th, 8/8, and all of the deeper, wider meanings that we can assign to it that are really beautiful. And that goes so well with this gene key of virtue, because virtue is that invisible sense. It's more than a sense. It's that invisible quality within, which is basically the state of being. Which is the state of being of absolute purity of heart. So the lion's heart, the virtuous heart, capable of galvanizing all of the requisite elements to give itself to the highest, deepest, purest dynamic that it is creating and co-creating. And so the gift frequency called guidance has a lot to do with leadership in terms of this inner compass. I desire the leadership, my own leadership, and any other leadership that I may recognize to have a good compass. Like if you're going to go hiking in the mountains and you have a guide, right? Guidance, you choose that guide because that guide knows what they're doing. They've been there, they know the lay of the land, and they're there to accompany you, to guide you, to accompany you, through the high mountain trails. And then at the shadow level of division, there isn't, the compass is lost. It's divided, the four directions of the compass and the, however many points you want to assign to it, they're all they're all dismembered and basically disconnected. And divided often leads to conflicted. Sometimes we may say, I am of a divided mind, because we have conflicting viewpoints within ourselves, and so there's no resolve or resolution to that division, to that conflict, yet. The resolution comes, and it comes in the now. It comes here now, as we remember that the only thing that really truly exists is now. And this is the I am process. Just allow yourself, suspended head tops. Thank you for, we have these heads, and we can imagine that they're just gently pushing towards heaven, even suspended from a thread from heaven. And this thread actually continues. It's our vertical axis, and this thread is us. Is our consciousness. Of course, our consciousness doesn't reduce itself to this axis of verticality, and yet this vertical axis is like a core in the sacred geometry of our being that we can find refuge and peace through. And the vertical axis of our being, a very tangible, immediate sense of being, then opens up the breath and allows this horizontal axis that you can feel when you open the breath and the heart and the arms. They all go together, and you can extend your arms and your hands and maybe pet your critters. That's what I'm doing right now. I got a cat on my right and a dog on my left. The dog doesn't purr for some reason. Anyway, wings as well. The birds open their wings to fly, and also to hold within the warmth of those feathers their young ones. So we have the vertical, we have the horizontal axis, and this is really the core of the man of Mencius that you see here. The vertical encompasses the head and the mind and all of the functions of it. And those lower functions that we know, the racing mind, the monkey mind, are going to be dissolved within the power and the strength and the truth and the beauty and the goodness of our essential nature when we remember and align ourselves. You always are aligned. We we talk about, I don't feel aligned, and that's legitimate because we're noticing something and we've just forgotten to, but I already am aligned. Look at the human suit, the vehicle that I have. It's perfect, and even if it's missing parts or if we're feeling ill or things like that, that's going to be, it's still within this precious human experience, And so this this head here, the cup, can then, open and relax, and in a way empty or dissolve in its true nature, which is what meditation is. And then you have the cross, the heart meets the vertical, is where the vertical meets the infinite here of the horizontal aspect of our consciousness is also along this horizontal plane, and therefore everywhere, And yet, with these specific space-time coordinates that we call me, the ego, which is part of our adventure here, and to be integrated, and there's no judgment, there's no need to judge. Just make sure that it's not the bag of the ego, the container of the ego isn't full of the shenanigans of, just what happens when things are just done by rote and they're no longer truly conscious and present. It's really easy. And then we have the square. We have the square, which is the physical component, the lower chakras, if you will, the groundedness of here now. So it's at the bottom, so to speak, of the vertical axis. And it's holding the heart, stable and secure in the equilibrium. So the equilibrium is the breath. It's really about breathing, which the heart is also driving, But when we breathe, it's basically our autonomic nervous system, and so we're breathing in, and the sympathetic is, the action, it's acceleration, and then we breathe out, and it's deceleration, it slows down, and this is how we hold the resiliency of our autonomic states in order to come back to this beautiful place of central equilibrium, which is what the man of Mencius is all about. So from division, right, to guidance, to virtue, and it's not a linear. I mean, it can be seen as a linear path, but it's actually it's like a vortex, or a torus, and the virtue is inside, and so you can actually do the journey, so to speak, backwards. Maybe counterintuitive of feeling, knowing this central place of purity, and then from there your guidance is going to allow for the division to come back to the fold and to learn from it. Like the kintsugi, the beautiful Japanese art of mending divided, broken, pots, So I hope this makes your heart sing like it does mine. And the singing is now. It's the practice, so to speak. The practice. So, what's your practice? Well, I'm alive. That's my practice. You know what I'm saying? It's like practice. Your practice. Our practice is now. That's all there is to it. Whatever it is we're doing. And the more we bring ourselves to the now, the more whatever it is we're doing is imbued and infused with the beauty of this, transcendent, infinite, divine, sacred, whatever you want to call it, being that is the I, that is the I am, that is me, that is you, and that has this redemptive quality, which is like, oh my God, so we're really going in a good direction, and we have the inner compass, right? Thank you so much for your beautiful attention, and let me know if you have any requests or questions, or if you have any comments. Please like the video. Obviously sometimes we forget, and share it, and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.